Hello everybody, welcome back. In this video we will continue the attack of OAuth protocol and OAuth for authorization. This time we'll talk about some advanced attacks. First, the attack CSRF state via cross-site scripting. If the OAuth provider and client use the state parameter to protect against CSRF, it's not the end of the world. We can still exploit this flow using cross-site scripting. So let's have example of this and see how it works. First, we have here a login, example 4. If we see this URL, we will find that in the end of this URL there is a state parameter with a random value. So let's cross it and see how it works. This is the login. Okay, this is the first request authorize, and here is the state parameter. If we forward it, it will return back the callback and with the same state parameter to make sure that this request and response is legitimate. If we forward it, here we find hello user 5. But actually hello user 5, if we see this website, examine it a little bit, we will see that this is there is a cross-site scripting attack in this website. If we pass sample cross-site scripting here. Okay, so here's this website is vulnerable to cross-site scripting attack. So how we can do some tricks to steal the authentication code from this user. What we're gonna do is add a crafted JavaScript code. What JavaScript code will do is inject an iframe in this page. The iframe will load the authentication flow again and stop there by providing a wrong state parameter. When we provide wrong state parameter, the authentication flow will not complete, but we can extract the authentication code from the iframe URL. Here's the crafted URL. Okay, let's hide it for a minute. And let's see, I will post the full JavaScript code on the video notes, so you don't have to whatever. But in a nutshell, there is a script and document.write the iframe, and on load we will run this function extract token. Extract token function, this is the source of iframe, localhost 5000, authorize, response type, and client ID, and scope, and redirect URI with wrong state. Any state he will be wrong. And this function extract token will take the URL match, will extract the code from the URL of the iframe, so we can take this code and continue the flow ourselves. So let's take this URL and let's send it to our victim, so our victim can run it here. And if we see the iframe itself couldn't complete the request, he says CSRF attack blocked. But we we extracted the code, the authentication code from the iframe. So if we take this authentication code, in real life example, this will send us the authentication code passively through an image or through anything. So we can take this authentication code, and here our attacker account. If we paste, if we call the callback directly, it will not complete because we don't have a valid state parameter to avoid the CRF attack. So what we need to do is to generate a new state parameter for us, and we can do it very easily if we just visited the URL and get the state parameter. That state parameter is for us, so we can add it to our callback, and here we go. We logged as this user. This user is user 5, and actually we are user 10, but we logged as user 5. Okay, got it? Great. The next attack is attack on implicit flow. If you remember that our flow for OAuth2 authorization grants, the client send access code ask to the server, and the server returns the access code to the client. Client exchange this access code for token. But there is another flow. It's not popular, but it can be, you can ask for the token instead of codes for the first time. Some OAuth providers support this feature. So let's see how we can do some magic here. If we go to okay, that's we end here, example 5, and let's run perp to intercept the traffic to see how it works. If we log in here's typical OAuth flow with rise with response type code, and if we forward it, here is the callback. Okay, that's good. Rise and callback. Okay, so what if we send it to the repeater, and here he will redirect us with callback authentication code. What if we change it response type from code to token? Okay, that is different. He redirect us to the callback but with hashtag, and he gave us the access token directly. Here is the access token and token type pure, and this is the expiration. Bingo. So we can make only one request to extract to get the token. Actually, we don't have to make any other requests. So if you find a cross-site scripting, for example, okay, let's forward it. Here is the same cross-site scripting at the previous example, the same developer. Okay, sorry. Okay, this is the same. So we can do the same trick. We can add an iframe to this page. The iframe will load the direct implicit grant, which request token instead of code, and extract this as an access token from this URL, and we can use this access token after that to request the user information easily. So let's get this URL. Again, I will post this JavaScript codes unhashed and in simple way at the video notes. So if we copy it for now and send it to our victim. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, here we go. We got the access token here, so we can use this access token to access the user information after that. Okay. So that was the most popular or the most attacks and tricks we can do on OOS. The limit is your imagination. You can examine the flow yourself and find more and more weakness on the flow. As the most I don't know, dangerous or the most exciting of all that yeah, it's a standard, but every developer and every website is a situation itself. So you have to examine how the website works and how the flow works, and you will find a weakness in the flow. You can exploit it. So have fun. And for the developers, the good questions here is how to mitigate these attacks and how to be secure as possible. So first, you must use SSL. Again, SSL is a very effective against man-in-the-middle attacks and other attacks. So you have to use SSL. If you don't, other security measures will not work. You must use state parameters to protect against CSRF, as we saw. Don't use implicit flow. If you don't use implicit flow, please disable it in your OOS flow, unless you know what you are doing exactly. Check your code for any other vulnerabilities, like cross-site scripting vulnerabilities. Cross-site scripting vulnerability is not a basic vulnerability. It can be a very dangerous vulnerability when it mixed with another vulnerability, like we saw before. We can steal authentication codes and we can steal access tokens and compromise the users. Last thing, be up to date with the standards. The standard is effective way to know the latest vulnerabilities in the protocol itself. So that's it for now. In the next video we'll show some use cases, some case studies from the real world about real examples, attacks on OOS on big websites. So thank you.